Jacko here with 8 milk bottles to help you learn how to breathe more optimally, more efficiently, and avoid 2 key mistakes people make with their breathing. My name's David Jackson. Most people know me as Jacko. I'm a master instructor with the Oxygen Advantage and mentor. I work with professional and elite international athletes and teams to help them with their breathing to optimize performance and recovery, as well as helping you understand your breathing, learning how to do it better for anything you're going to try and do in your life, whether that's for physical exercise or whether that's just for managing your day-to-day stresses. In this video, we're going to be learning a little bit about how to fill our lungs up more efficiently with a little visualization of our milk bottles. And you're going to learn how to avoid these 2 major mistakes that too many people are making with their breathing. So before we get to what these 6 milk bottles in the middle represent, we're going to just talk a little bit about how filling up a milk bottle can be a good analogy for filling up your lung. I don't dare do this left-handed, so I'm going to swap my hands over. Now imagine this is my lung. When I'm filling it with water from a milk bottle, gravity is obviously going to ensure that the milk bottle fills from the bottom up. That, however, isn't always the same with our breathing. I can breathe into my upper chest by taking a faster, shallower lifting of the rib cage, and air is going to get filled into the top of the lung more so than the bottom. Now, this is important because if this is my lung and the diaphragm is at the bottom, this nice little dome shape at the bottom of our milk bottle, I want to be able to fill from the bottom up. That's because at the bottom of here, we have the most amount of blood. The same way gravity pulls water into the bottom, gravity is pulling blood to the bottom of the lung. The other thing at the bottom of this lung is we have the greatest density of alveoli. They're the little air sacs where the oxygen exchange and carbon dioxide exchange back out takes place. And there are more of them down here, and therefore it's more efficient for me to fill from the bottom up, even if I'm filling only a small amount of air, because I'm not exercising, I'm not stressed, I'm calm, and I'm breathing gently. But filling from the bottom up means that regardless of whether I take a big breath, which will be filling all of it, I can still fill from the bottom. The diaphragm is then key to pulling that air to the bottom of the lung, regardless of whether it's a small breath like this or a fuller, bigger breath when you're exercising, you need to get more air in. So that's mistake number 1. People are filling the top of their lung rather than filling from the bottom. It's more efficient to fill from the bottom up. I think the milk bottle, hopefully you agree, let me know in the comments. I think filling up the milk bottle, I'm going to try one with the left hand. Filling up with the milk bottle, have spilt some, is a great little simple but obvious, but little analogy for us to understand about filling our own lungs more efficiently. The second mistake that people make too often is where we're going to come to these 6 milk bottles in the middle. When they learn about engaging the diaphragm, we talk about taking a deep breath rather than filling up an appropriate amount of air. When we're starting to learn about the importance of breathing deeper with the diaphragm, the misconception they make is they always think a deep breath is a big breath, and they're trying to always fill all of the lung all the way up. Something that might surprise you is that your total lung capacity across both of your lungs is around about 6 litres on average, let's say. That means 6 litres for both lungs. That means one lung is 3 litres. My 6 milk bottles here, I've measured out about 500 millilitres of water in each milk bottle. So we've got 3 litres of air, or 3 litres of water, representing 3 litres of air in one of your lungs. So all of these 6, that's like what one of your lungs can do. However, when I'm not maximizing my capacity to breathe at maximal level intensity of exercise, I don't need to be filling all of that lung up. A good, efficient amount of air to breathe is actually surprise, surprise, only about half a litre. And that's across both of your lungs. So at rest, if I'm calm with my breathing and efficient with my breathing, I'm looking at breathing at about 10 to 12 breaths per minute, and there's about half a litre of air going in and out of my lungs combined. 10 to 12 breaths, half a litre of air, that's about 5 to 6 litres of air in total, the total amount of ventilation that you're going to be passing in and out of your lungs in 1 minute if I'm breathing at about 10 to 12 breaths per minute. What happens when we take larger breaths than we need to? More carbon dioxide is leaving the body because the size of our inhale dictates the size of our exhale. And what happens is we become inefficient with our breathing. We spend more energy on breathing because we're breathing larger amounts of air in. We're wasting energy on the act of breathing. And then larger volumes of air are leaving, and more carbon dioxide is then leaving, which has a detrimental effect on our blood circulation, on our oxygen delivery. Everything from your vagal tone can be affected, even blood flow and oxygen supply to the brain can be affected when we have lower levels of carbon dioxide in the blood. So it's really, really, really important that we're not over breathing, which was our big mistake number 2. If you think about filling just 1 milk bottle across both of your lungs at rest, and you're filling from the bottom up, you're likely to take a much calmer, slower, and if you use your nose, gentler breath at rest, not trying to fill all of your lung up. Just fill a smaller amount, half a litre across both lungs is a much smaller breath than you probably think. And certainly you don't need to take a big, full breath to feel satisfied when you're calm and you're breathing at rest or in general day-to-day activities. You only need to start filling more of the lung up as your exercise intensity increases. The harder you're exercising and the exercise intensity increases, the more of your lung you're going to want to fill up. We call the amount of air you get in one breath tidal volume. Elite athletes are able to keep expanding their tidal volume, the size of their breath, as exercise intensity increases. Whereas what happens with non-elite athletes or people that struggle with their breathing is they breathe so fast that even though they want to, they're breathing so fast, it's so quick, they can only get a smaller amount of air in. But unlike what gravity is doing for our milk bottle, that smaller amount of air is going into the upper chest, where we have less blood within the lung, less alveoli, and therefore less efficient in terms of our oxygen delivery. What happens to that type of person during exercise? We feel out of breath. When we feel out of breath, what do? We have to stop. So in order to breathe better in everyday life, we're going to breathe a smaller amount of air per breath, which is going to be calmer for your nervous system, more efficient. During exercise, you're going to take those principles and you're going to try to expand, still filling from the bottom up, but expand a little bit larger so that you don't get into that state of fast, shallow upper chest breathing, which ultimately leads to fatigue and ultimately leads to your brain going, we need to stop this thing, because only when I stop am I going to eventually start to recover and feel better. If we understand how to breathe, and hopefully these visuals give you a little bit of better understanding, if we understand how to breathe, what our auto is trying to get us to do in order to make us stop during exercise, we can use this understanding and practice the skill of breathing better, ventilating more efficiently for what is appropriate volumes of air and quality of ventilation mechanics in order to optimize your physical and mental performance, whether that's for everyday life and managing everyday stresses, or whether you're an athlete or enjoy any type of exercise, that your breathing represents the intensity of exercise that you're doing. I hope this little visual has been helpful. I hope there's something in there for everyone, whether you are looking to improve your breathing for exercise performance, or whether you are looking to improve your breathing for everyday life and management of everyday stresses, that this has been helpful within that. If you haven't, give me a little like somewhere and subscribe. I'd love you to subscribe so you can see more videos. I'm going to put more of my effort now into YouTube for this educational style content, which allows for a slightly longer duration video than a very short Instagram reel. So thank you for those that have already subscribed. Give us a subscribe if you haven't yet. And then if you have any comments from today's video, or if it sparked any questions in anything else, hit me up in the comments and I look forward to answering those questions and engaging with you there. You've been breathing. I've been Jacko. Till next time, keep it nasal when you can.